Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Loan Officer Breakfast Club. Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. We are here to get rolling, my friends. We're going to get started. Carl, give it to me. We're getting started? When?
Almost have it. Hey,
Good enough.
I was
Good
a half
enough.
a step behind. That's
all right.
that was my problem in music. You know, it was like always a half a step behind or ahead. Either one.
Well, good stuff, man. Thanks for being here, everybody. We're going to have a great show. A great day. Kevin Gillespie's in the house. Hi, Kevin. I hope you're doing well. Got Kelly Dutton as well. Closing some deals, man. It's nice. Good to have Kelly here for sure. You know, so we'll see if we get Robin Levasseur today. Hopefully we do.
She's coming in right now.
Oh, good. She's here. All right, great. So, but before we get started with Robin, you know, something did come up in the green room that I thought was pretty cool, and I thought we could chat about it just briefly before we dive in. First of all, I'd love to hear of any new members. If you got any new members you want to bring up, ladies, that would be nice to hear. But also, you know, we briefly touched base on somebody, Jen, you said had sent out 19 handwritten notes. Or something.
Christopher Kraft.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's here. He just logged in. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Right on.
Yeah. He's a newer member too. He checks all the boxes this
We're hitting all the boxes with Chris?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, what's his name? Chris what?
Christopher Kraft.
Christopher Kraft. Are you here? Can you unmute and say hi?
I'm here. Good morning.
Hey, man. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Doing good. Glad to be here.
Yeah. The ladies were just bragging on you in the green room. I hope you know.
Oh boy.
Which is a pretty big compliment. I mean, you know, that don't come easy. Yeah, that don't come easy.
Trust me, I've been waiting 25 years.
Exactly. Come on. Yeah.
What for exactly?
Well, they were just talking about the fact that you sent out 19 handwritten notes or something along those lines last week or something.
How good you did on your homework for the.
Oh, good.
Group. Yeah,
The handwritten note thing for me is just a big deal. I used to listen a lot to Brian Buffini, you know, famous realtor. He's a big handwritten note guy, and I try to almost use it as an accountability tool. You know, if I don't have 5 to 7 handwritten notes each day, that means I probably didn't have 5 to 7 good conversations the day prior. So that's important for me.
Yeah, that's right. I got turned on to the handwritten note too, is through Brian Buffini.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, and I love that. I always say that phrase. He always says, when you write a handwritten note, somebody gets it. They can't just throw it away because you have to kind of honor it for a minute. It's like he said, if you just throw away a handwritten note, as soon as you get it, it gives you the heebie-jeebies. You know, you feel weird. You know, so they're very powerful handwritten notes. So, hey, Chris, do you have a Loan Officer Breakfast Club T-shirt?
I don't.
Oh, sure you
do.
No
T-shirt yet.
There you do.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, congratulations. That's what a handwritten note will get you. There you go.
All right.
Yeah, take that with caution. You know, don't rush into that. Just so you know. But yeah, the handwritten note opinions in the chat. Raise hand real quick before we jump in and chat with Robin. But you know, thoughts on
Chris
handwritten notes?
Also,
yeah.
Kris is also a new member of the Mortgage Marketing.
Oh, golly, man, you're just you know, doing great.
Newer. Yeah.
Newer. Excellent. Good. All right. Yeah, the handwritten note. Thoughts on that, man? I'm a big fan. I know Bill sends out the rubber finger, right? Is that what it is? The rubber finger and the the rubber hand. Yeah. Some people get the rubber finger. Some people get the better one. But I used to do that.
Tara McCafferty says, I just wrote, I think, 14 this morning.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, handwritten notes are powerful, man. When somebody receives the handwritten note, they got to hang on to it. It sticks. It's a sticky thing. You know what I mean? It sticks. It keeps you front and center. Follow that with the phone calls coming in. Man, it's a great way to break down barriers and get to the lead.
I think it's also important on the handwritten notes
to
keep in mind that they are also a love note. In other words, like it's always one of honor. Like it's always, I'm really enjoying working with you, or, I enjoy working. It's just one of honor where you're telling how much you appreciate on the appropriate level, of course, but how much you appreciate the relationship and working with them, and kudos for putting together such a great team to work with, and and our kudos for you and your family. Put yourself in position to buy this home, like whatever that thing is. I think it's really important to put it as a love note.
It really is. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Right on. Well, what else we want to touch base on before we get cooking here? What's going on at Animals today? Anything in Animals today, or anything like that before we dive in?
Today's Alliance Day, so
Alliance.
so for our newer Alliance members, that's what we're doing today for a couple hours. So looking forward to that. Got a great topic, but we'll discuss that there. And yeah, I tell you what I want to hear though. I want to ask Robin the same question that we asked Jimmy yesterday.
Good thinking.
And yeah, I think that's an interesting idea. So Robin, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning, sunshine. Good. How are you? Sorry, a little foggy this morning.
Well, it is 5:35 in the morning there. So I never forget that. So I really appreciate you and Frank and the other people on the West Coast. I mean, it's a big ask. It is 5:30 in the morning. So so you guys, you and Jimmy, y'all just came back from a top producer conference, right? Kind of an awards trip of sorts. Like, hey, you're the top gun. You get to go on this trip, and so you're only hanging out with the top producers. And where'd y'all go this time?
Cancun. So I got to cheat on LOBC because I was on the same time zone. So that was an 8:30 call. So that was much better.
Well, that was too easy. We need to make it hard. Say we should have started it at 5:30 then, just so you'd feel
totally. Keep me acclimated, Carl.
So Cancun is East Coast time?
Uh-huh.
Wow. Yeah. Would not have guessed that.
I wouldn't have either.
Yeah. Hey, so the question that we asked Jimmy was, you got to hang around, and you're the leader of many of those at this retreat. Like, any big take-home message, or like one thing I noticed about top producers, they blank, or like anything kind of stand out from the trip? Not the fishing, not the the after hours little get together around the campfire thing, but like any kind of take home messages from hanging out with a group like that? Let me tell you what Jimmy's was first.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you're getting value from this already, go ahead and tap that like button. It helps more loan officers find content that actually makes a difference. And hey, if staying ahead of the market and learning what's really working in our industry matters to you, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss another episode. We read every comment, so drop your thoughts down below. We'd love to hear from you and know what's working or what you'd like us to cover next. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you here next time.
He really, I was out in left field expecting to catch it, and he zinged it off to right field. It was like, what? So his was that all the top producers honor their spouses. They realize how important their spouse is to their journey, their success. That it's not a solo trip. It's an arm in arm, or at least for Jimmy, it was an arm in arm. And I thought that was a very interesting perspective. So I'm totally not expecting that. Agreed with him for sure when he brought it up, but I would not have expected that. What for you? Like, when you're hanging out with these top producers, what do you like? What's the vibe?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. One, I was going to actually lead off of exactly what Jimmy said, not just that they honored them, but more importantly, they have a really strong partner. And a really supportive partner. And I think in general, that makes a big difference in all areas of life. Much bigger than we give it credit for, to be in a true team. I think everything needs team, if you will, needs, another person to make somebody stronger and better. And you see that really consistently, almost 100% actually throughout our top producers, which is great. So I think that's a big one. I think the other piece of it is that it becomes a new standard. And I think one of the things that, that we say often is, you see the same people over and over again, and then you'll get somebody who, I think we had 4 newcomers, if you will, to the trip this year. And the rest, I mean, many of them have not missed a trip in, one missed a trip 2 years ago, and he's like, I will never miss again. He barely missed. And so and the truth was, he didn't keep his eye on the ball. It wasn't a focus. And so one of the things that I think all of them just set as their, and we call this, in my previous coaching, Carl, we call this dashboard over like big, hairy, audacious goal, if you will. Like, your dashboard is your non-negotiables, right? It's your I'm going to hit this no matter what. You guys might have another word for it as well, but it's not a I'm hoping to do this. It's a I'm committed to doing this. And I think that they have a very big commitment to hit the minimum threshold, obviously exceed that, but that's a dashboard for them, not a, I hope I make the trip this year.
I see. So it's a foregone conclusion. This is happening no matter what,
Yes.
kind of a vibe.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Not just, well,
100%.
I hope I hit that. That's kind of what I'd like to do, but no.
Mhm.
So they're just setting the standard.
Yeah, and when you bring in the spouse piece to it and the spouse enjoys a trip, if you will, the spouse is also, I mean, I'll get texts from husbands and wives alike, or, significant others with, are they on track? Throughout the year, which is pretty funny. So they also ironically build a built-in accountability partner to get on the trip as well. And it seems kind of silly to think, hey, it's, we all, probably have the means dependent on production to fly to Cancun ourselves for a few days and enjoy ourselves. But I think there's a true camaraderie amidst them, and they're all pushing one another to get better. And I think that's what's really also magic, is when you can be in a room full of people that I believe you can learn something from everybody, no matter what they're doing in units, volume. There's always something that somebody has a gift that you could grab hold of as well, and gain something from it. And so they do a great job of sharing and promoting one another, but then also competing in a healthy way.
Was there any, just out of curiosity, you're basically saying you can always pick up something new, right? And
Correct.
did,
Yeah.
did anything pop out to you? Any gold nuggets come out that you're like, ooh, I gotta relay that to the team, or anything like that? Do you have anything? Can you think of anything that was just like a zinger?
Our number one gal in units nationwide, it's I'm going to disappoint everybody for a minute. Her magic bullet is just doing the basics on repeat.
Yeah. Funny how that works.
And it just, you can't really argue with it. And it's not that she doesn't adjust or try new things, but it's like writing handwritten thank you cards, or, hosting a few leveraged events, or, making the calls. Yesterday morning, we're back first day, and, she was the first one to email back and say, I'm 21 calls deep, and it was 9 a.m. my time, and she's in central time zone. So she does the basics on repeat. Yeah, there are other things that people, we've got somebody who's been blowing up on social media. We've got somebody who's been leveraging teaching AI classes. We have somebody that's absolutely crushing it with the California Dream program and doing a YouTube channel. And, I think in January he had 110 leads because he's got a funnel system off it. There's things, but those things, if you will, become kind of niches on top of doing the basics. And I don't know of a single thing that creates the consistent result, and compounds that result more than the basics done really well.
How many units was it?
She did 186 last year.
How many was that?
186.
Wow. That's a lot.
Individual LO.
She's also a branch manager, has an LO that works for her, has a great team. Yeah, all the things are there. She's definitely cooking with gas right now. So yeah.
186, Carl.
Every 186 helps.
Yeah.
Back, I was really thinking about this spouse thing all day yesterday, and Maria was asking me about it because she was in the kitchen and overheard the Breakfast Club a little bit. And I think one of the challenges for the spouse is they can, if you're not careful, they can end up in the shadow of the, let's call it the front person, whoever he or she is, that they can like Robin, like your husband. Here you are, you're nationally known, and he very well might be too, right? I'm not saying he's not, but here you are, you're nationally known. You get a lot of attention, a well-deserved attention, right? You do a lot of stage work, and people send you handwritten notes. The love notes, as we called them. You get those. You get those all the time.
Yep.
And and I know sometimes people come up in the airport for me from time to time. You're Carl White, and and I'm sure you get that too. And it must, it can be a little bit of a challenge, to make, for me, to bring them up that, hey, none of this without you, and you're not the shadow. It's not one falling behind the other. It's an arm in arm thing. So I think it can be
Yeah.
a challenge, and especially if you look at, and I'm going to use air quotes here, traditional roles, where, typically that would be the male of the house, in years
Mhm.
past and
Yeah.
generations past,
Right. Yeah.
where like my next door neighbor, she's a dentist, he's her assistant, right?
Uh-huh.
That's my next door neighbor. And they wear that very well, as they should, right? But I think that's an additional challenge, is that living in the shadow kind of thing, and making sure, doing what we can to avoid that from happening.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, I'll go back, I'm super faith-based, so that's not, I'm not pushing that with anybody. For me, I'm super faith-based. And I really believe that God gave us gifts, specific gifts, and He gave other people gifts we don't have as a gift as well to us. And the things that my husband is capable of that I am not is something that we both work very hard on. Like, if you gave my husband a microphone and a stage, he would rather die than stand up and speak. It took all he had after our 5 kids got married. At the 5th one, he finally grabbed the mic for a minute, maybe with a couple Coors Lights on board, to actually say a few words, and could barely spit out anything without crying. It was and for me, you could hand me a microphone all day, but I've never baked a pie. And
Mm.
I've always loved women that can bake beautiful food. And, in the traditional role, if you will, this is going to sound very, archaic in a way, Carl, but I love somebody that can I don't have that creative space. I don't suck at cooking by any means, but I'm not some
Mhm.
present this beautiful table spread. And I've got a friend who can do that at the highest level, and I love her gift. But her gift is different than mine. And I think that's one of the things that I really believe, our gifts are meant to be showcased and given at the highest level to other people who, because you got yours for a reason. I personally I would have loved to have been a singer. I love to sing. I love music. Um, I would never have made a cut on American Idol or The Voice. I'm very aware of that, but I can hold a
Yeah.
tune with karaoke, right? Like,
Yeah.
but thank goodness somebody else can. And so I think that's the way that, to tie that back into spouse, I really believe no gift is greater than another. They're just different, and they're
Mhm.
all meant to be there. And so I think that John and I, over the years, we've been together since I was 19, and married for 27 years. So we've been able to really reflect on. Uh, there's never been I'm more important because I bring the money piece, to the table, or I have this skill. Eh, Both are so desperately needed, both the gifts that we have. And so keeping that in check at all times, and recognizing that and having those conversations, I think, is one of the things that's kept us in balance. And I do a lot of work on that with a lot of loan officers and their spouse as well, because I think that it can get in both people's head, that something is more important than anything else. And it's just simply not true.
Yeah, and I think particularly the case with, or that's the wrong way of saying it. I think it's amplified even more so when we have kids, because like I've got a gentleman here that comes works on my yard every day, Monday through Thursday. He takes Fridays off. I don't know who gave him that idea, but
Hmm.
anyway, he comes here Monday, Thursday. So his wife is I think he's either a family practice doctor or an ER doctor. I can't remember. I think family practice, like my daughter is. So his wife is a family practice, and he's got 3 boys at home. Sound familiar, Robin? So he's got 3 boys at home, and uh, and so what he does is he gets them off to school, and then when they go off to school, he comes over here, works here, and if one of the kids has an awards thing or something like that, he takes off and goes to that, and so he plays that role, while his wife, is making sure the mortgage is paid, figuratively
Mhm.
speaking, and I think it works really well. Hey, I want to go back to something here just real quick, and I see we're running short on
Yeah.
time. You made a statement early on that that they made a commitment or a dashboard, as you called it. Um, how important do you think it is, or is it important? Like if I say I'm going to do, like I say I'm going to, hey, I'm going to make X amount of calls. I'm going to do this prospecting activity to actually bring in the loans. I'm not just going to hope the phone rings, hope the rates go down. I'm going to be a proactive approach to it. And let's say I say I'm going to make, I don't know, I'm going to do whatever, 5 presentations and make, you know, 13 calls every day for the next 90 days, Monday through Thursday. Do I just make that commitment to myself, or is it important that I call up, my sister Jen or my sister Kristen or my buddy Rudy, Bill, and make a commitment to somebody else, or do I like go on social media, not in an uncool way, but in a cool way, and make a public commitment? Like, what's the best way to do that? Do you think? Is it singular accountability? Is it group accountability? Like, what is that? Or just a self and write it up my wall? Like, what's the best way to do it?
Yeah. I mean, I know, I think we're all built a little bit differently. I think some people have the automatic discipline, right, to get up at 4:30 in the morning and it's not even a question to get in the gym.
I would love to meet that person,
Personally,
by the way.
right? Love it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
same,
yeah,
same. It
yeah,
would be lovely if I keep
yeah,
begging for that gift. It just has not come yet, right? Like
yeah,
make me fall in love with running and salads, and I
yeah,
just can't
yeah.
do it. And so when I go outside, even to my gym, like my husband and I have a trainer drive out to our house, 3 days a week, and we'd love to say we work out 5 days a week, but the truth is we make the three, and that's the consistency. And so I think we're all very different in where we need accountability. Some people are really strong at, I believe personally, like when I write things down, I remember them better. Period. End of story. If I take an actual written note, it absorbs. When I give myself an accountability partner and ask them to help check in and be, and I am very motivated by competition. And I'm very motivated under, a praise setting. So when you know your motivators, when you know yourself well, hey, this is something, if I'm competing against a couple other people, I hate to lose, like not to my
Mhm, mhm.
4-year-old back in the day at Yahtzee. I do not like losing. So I'm not overly aggressive, Carl, but I'm fairly aggressive. And so I think that, for me, you put me up against a couple other people of who will make the most calls. I'm triggered, right? So I think you have to really know yourself. And if you don't know yourself well in this space, ask people that know you well
Mhm.
and catch on to yourself in terms of, do I feel myself performing? Some people perform the very best the day before vacation. How many of you guys get a lot of stuff done the day before vacation? You just knock it
Mhm.
out of the park. And the truth is, that's a signal that pressure might be one of the things that you are motivated by because
Mhm.
you're under the gun. You don't have a choice
Mhm.
but to get it done because you're about to check out maybe for a few days, right?
Mhm.
And now all of a
Mhm.
sudden you have one of the most productive days of your life because pressure motivates you. And so I think understanding your triggers is a really big one. Pressure, praise, competition are the general rule of thumb of how people remain motivated. And I think accountability has to be mixed in there for motivation in general, Carl. So yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Mm.
Yeah, I have to, for me, I have to make a public declaration to people that matter to me,
Hmm.
like you, Frank, Kristen,
Yeah.
Jen, and any number of people on here. Uh, because I do not like letting people down. And if I make a public commitment to you that I'm going to do this, if I don't do it, I feel like I'm letting you down. And I think and I think Bill just said something. A quote that came from the Moneyball, which is a fantastic movie. That was, I hate to lose more than I like to win.
Yes.
And I'm the same way. So that's why I don't gamble at Vegas, because if I
Yeah.
win, whatever. If I
Yes.
lose, son of a gun.
Yes. Yes. It's
So
so true.
I think it's making that public commitment that I don't want my sister Kristen, who I look up to, I don't want
100%.
her to, not that she would, but maybe she would. I don't want her to judge me, that I fell short,
Yeah.
and that means a lot to me. That's what.
Well, and I think that's one of the things we get out of sync with, and it's a whole different, one of the things I do with my team as they come on board, I laminate and send a story about the four agreements. And have you ever read that, Carl?
No, I've never heard of it.
The Four Agreements is a book that absolutely changed my life. And I won't go through all of them today, but it's a great topic that I could bring back to even next Tuesday. But one of for agreements is be impeccable with your word.
Mm.
And it essentially is, speak with integrity, say only what you mean, and not only to others, but when speaking to yourself. Um, and I think that when I'm out of alignment in anything, feeling um, in disarray, frustrated, whatever it may be, I can look down at my laminated card of four agreements, and these are little things for me, you guys, that just help keep me in a snapback faster. I can look down and literally say one of the four agreements or multiple are out of alignment right now, and that's my problem. And so they're commitments to yourself, and they're also kind of commitments to how you plan on behaving in the world. And it just makes a massive, massive difference. And I think you're speaking exactly to be impeccable with your words. Because when you commit to somebody, you do feel bad. You do end up thinking, gosh, I said I would do this and I didn't. And we judge others on their actions and we judge ourselves on our intentions, and that can be very dangerous, right? Like and so when I understand that other people will judge me more on my actions than what I wanted to do inside, it makes me want to take those actions more frequently, for sure. I'm with you.
Hey, just as a reminder, if you're enjoying Loan Officer Breakfast Club here on YouTube, you can catch our live shows. The live shows are really cool because there's oftentimes downloads and giveaways. It's really, really fun. To subscribe, you simply go to loanofficerbreakfastclub.com. That's loanofficerbreakfastclub.com. Subscribe and join us on our live shows. They're 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Hope to see you there.
Hey, give us as we close up here, give us an action item. So here it is, Tuesday. One thing you want to make sure you do this week or this month or this quarter or this year. One thing to go do right away is give me a very measurable action item to do today.
Very measurable action item. One of the things that I was going to talk about today, and so I'm going to challenge you guys, and we can talk about it on next week's call will be with you, Carl. I'll be in Clearwater, so I'm not sure if we're hitting this first. So I'm very excited about it. I would challenge you guys to write down the most common objections that you hear from an agent wanting to meet with you or use you as their primary lender. The most common objections you hear to a buyer getting into contract or, pulling the trigger on, anything, objection of doing an application, objection of doing, pulling credit, an objection to a listing agent, maybe, taking or honoring your offer. Maybe it's an FHA and they have a cash or a conventional. And one of the things that I really challenge people on is if, our brains are such beautiful muscles that we can train. And we lose sight of that sometimes, and we don't train it in some of the most valuable spaces. And I know we could all probably list 20 objections right now off the top of our head that we hear every single day. And I would challenge you to not only look at those objections, but give yourself 3 questions to ask after each of those objections, because objections are simply a request for more information. And when you see them that way, you will instantly think to yourself, gosh, I'm one step closer to overcoming all the why nots, which means we're back to the why, right? The how, the what we're going to do and how we're going to work together, if you will. And so I think but we don't often train ourselves to overcome objections. We just get frustrated with them and maybe stifled by them. So write them down and then come up with some overcomes. And then maybe in the next week or two, we can work on overcoming objections. If you're ready for them, your brain will go more into autopilot versus saying things like, okay, I understand, I'll follow back up with you in a few months, right? I'll check in with you later. I'd love to be your number 2, because we're simply not prepared for the objection. And that often can feel like rejection to us. So that would, I know it's not the make all the calls, all those things, but I'm very big on Carl, doing the activity, but getting a result out of the activity that we do, because I think that's what allows us to want to do more.
All right. I definitely, we don't have time for today. I got a big star behind. You said, come up with the objections, which is easy. I started writing them down as soon as you said that. And then you said, and then ask 3 questions. That's going to be our cliffhanger. So I'd love to hear more about that, the asking 3 questions thing. So good stuff. It's like right at the end, she pops off this zinger there, Frank.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I knew it. Yeah.
Okay. It's
There's a
9:01
gold
and
nugget.
she
Yep.
gives the zinger. So I'd love to hear more about the 3 questions. I think that's the secret sauce to this probably is instead of, so what you're saying is, in 10 seconds, what you're saying is don't come up with an automatic rebuttal, come up with an automatic question. Is that what I'm understanding?
Correct, because
Very good.
curiosity will convert an objection all day long.
I'd love to hear more about that. So
That's a good one.
That's our next topic. I love that. That's a great idea. Maybe we'll blank out like a 30-minute slot while you're down here, and we'll do that at the event. That sounds very, very, very interesting. Sounds like a good workshop. Everybody come up with objections. Like this group come up with objections from the borrower. This one from the realtor. This one from locking the loan. This one, can I ask for your commitment? So that sounds like a fantastic way to spend 30 minutes. And then everybody share the list of what you came up with. So
yeah, and your brain will go reach in that little archive and go, oh, pull that card out and say that. And it's such
I like that. Robin, always good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, my friend. I can't wait for next week, you guys.
Yeah, me too.
Have a productive Tuesday. We'll see you guys soon.
Appreciate you, Robin. Thanks so much. Awesome. Yeah, so next week going to be kind of a little different because everybody's going to be at the event, right? So,
all the cool kids.
All the cool kids. Yeah.
Hey, just real quick, 1 second.
Yeah.
Hey, Herb Levin. Herb, I unmute yourself just for a second.
Unmute. Okay, I unmuted.
Herb, I had the amazing honor to speak with your daughter yesterday. So Amy is a new member of the Alliance, and Herb is her wonderful father, which she had nothing but gracious things to say. And it was it's fantastic, Herb, to see you hand off a legacy or the torch to a very, very, very capable, what I see as a young lady at my age. And well done, buddy.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. She's terrific.
I can see that already. A chip off the old block.
I love talking to her, seeing her every day. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, good for you, buddy. I just wanted, as a father to a father, it's nice to know, for somebody else to recognize job well done, buddy. She was, she's got a fire in her eye. She's great things are going to come from her, my friend, for a long, long time. So good for you, buddy.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Carl.
Yeah. That was a really cool thing. Yeah, I'm talking to this lady. I'm going, gosh, who is this lady? And she's like, well, I've this and I that. And I'm going, man, this lady's got to go together. And she kept saying Herb this and Herb that. I go, Herb who? She goes, Herb Levin. How do you know Herb Levin? That's my father. What? So that was a really cool moment for me. Good to see you, buddy.
Good stuff, man.
Sorry,
all
Frank.
right. No, all good. All good. Wonderful. All right. Well, cool, man. Well, let's just do it all again tomorrow. What do you guys say? Ready to come back?
What are we going to do tomorrow?
I'm not sure yet. Yeah, I'll figure it out between like now and 30 minutes from now. I'm going to come up with an epic topic that's going to be so amazing. They're going to write songs about it and sing it around campfires, Carl.
Be a good topic. Just something I've been pondering.
What do you think?
I maybe something like how do you manage the not overcoming the objections, but how do you overcome getting rejected? Like not the process of it. Like maybe I win. Oh no, I just got blown out of the water. How do you deal with that and resurface and come back ready to go again? Like how do you survive the turn downs?
How do you survive the turn down?
Yeah, like when I asked Debbie for a date in the 9th grade, and I'm just making a name up, or Bob or whoever that person is, and Debbie goes, "No way." How do you recover from that to go ask Susie or Jim, or whatever, So how do you? So in the business world, how do you overcome? I got shot down. I got knocked out of the water. I just got beat out by 1.5 in the rate. Gosh, my rates suck. How do you overcome that and come back to the table?
That's a good
one. Because it happens for me most of the time. Most of the time, I don't win. Most of the time, I win the war, so to speak. But the individual day-to-day, the day-to-day. I mean, more realtors tell me no than yes. When I call them up and say, "Hey, I'd like to do business with you," most say no, and yet, I've got a 7-figure income. So how do you overcome those no's? How do you not let that beat you down?
Yeah, that's a great topic. Let's do it. And Don Lake, we want you to give the presentation. So get that together.
Don's got it.
Get that together for tomorrow.
Not that he ever gets rejected. Not that he ever gets rejected. But imagine if, Don, you were Frank or Carl. How would you overcome when and if somebody say no? So
I love it. Let's do that. That's a good topic.
All right, Don.
Great topic.
Prep for it, buddy. We'll see you in the green room tomorrow.
All right. Great stuff, guys. Well, thanks for joining us here at the Loan Officer Breakfast Club as always. Robin, always a pleasure. Thank you, dear. That was great. Good stuff. You guys have a fantastic day. We'll be here tomorrow and do it all over again. Adios.
Great day, everybody.